Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a chapter that, let me tell you, has some serious whiplash. It starts with a wedding party and ends with, well, basically a riot. We're in John chapter 2. And the big question is, what on earth connects a joyful miracle at a party with a furious confrontation in a holy temple? Let's get into it. So, yeah, look at this contrast. On one hand, you've got a wedding feast, this beautiful picture of everyday life and celebration. And on the other, you have a full-blown confrontation, right at the heart of their religion. Now, these two scenes, they might seem like they're from totally different stories, but they're actually two sides of the same coin. And together, they reveal something absolutely profound about who Jesus is. All right, so first up, our story kicks off not in some grand holy place, but at a simple wedding in a town called Cana. And, things are about to get really, really awkward. Okay, so running out of wine at a wedding in this culture, this wasn't just a small mistake. It was a huge deal, a massive social embarrassment that would have brought so much shame on the family. The joy of the party is literally about to dry up. And it's at this moment that Jesus' mother, Mary, knows exactly who to turn to. Now, at first, Jesus seems a little hesitant. He says his hour hasn't come yet. But Mary, she doesn't even argue. Instead, she just turns to the servants and gives them this simple but incredibly powerful instruction. Whatever he says to you, do it. Talk about complete and total trust, right? Even when he's pushing back a little. So what happens next is this quiet, almost behind-the-scenes miracle. Jesus tells the servants to fill up these 6 gigantic stone jars. And get this, these were jars specifically used for religious purification rituals. And the servants, they just do it, no questions asked. And in that simple act of obedience, that water becomes the best wine of the entire celebration. And the text makes it really clear this was not just some party trick to save the day. It's called the first sign. And a sign is something that points to a much deeper truth. The truth it was pointing to? His divine glory. For his disciples who were there watching, this wasn't just about impressive winemaking. It was a game-changing revelation that fundamentally boosted their faith. And the symbolism here is just, wow, it's so powerful. You've got the water, which represents the old system of religious rituals and purification. And Jesus transforms it into wine, a symbol of new joy, of abundance, of a whole new kind of life. The message couldn't be clearer. He's not just here to keep the old traditions going. He's here to transform them into something completely new and full of life. And now, hold on, because we're about to shift gears dramatically. We go from that joyful wedding party straight to the temple in Jerusalem. And the mood, it's about to get really intense. So Jesus walks into the temple courts, and instead of finding a quiet, reverent place of prayer, he finds an absolute circus. It's a loud, chaotic marketplace. You've got merchants yelling, money changers haggling, animals making noise. What was supposed to be a house of worship had basically been turned into a mall, where spiritual corruption was being disguised as convenience. And his reaction is explosive, filled with what the Bible calls righteous zeal. He takes complete control. He actually makes a whip, drives out the livestock, and starts flipping the money changers' tables, sending coins scattering everywhere. This isn't just a temper tantrum. It's a powerful holy passion. It's a bold declaration of his authority over his Father's house. Well, as you can imagine, the religious leaders are absolutely furious. They come up to him and demand to know who gave him the authority to do this. And his answer? It's one of the most mysterious and crucial lines in the whole story. He says, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The leaders are just completely baffled. They're thinking, this guy is nuts. They look at the massive stone temple that took decades to build and think he's talking about that. But was he really talking about the building? And here's the reveal. The text tells us that even his own disciples didn't understand what he meant until after he was resurrected. The temple he was talking about, it wasn't made of stone. It was his own body. He was literally predicting his own death and his resurrection 3 days later. So here's where it all connects, you see. This is the big takeaway. Just like he transformed the water of the old system into the wine of the new, Jesus is now totally redefining the center of worship itself. It's no longer about a physical building. It's about a person. He is the new temple. He is the place where humanity and God truly meet. Okay, so we've seen 2 huge signs. One, a quiet miracle. The other, a very public confrontation. But now the chapter ends with this final and maybe most important lesson about what it really means to believe. So, after witnessing all of this incredible stuff, it's really no surprise that a lot of people in Jerusalem started to believe in Jesus. I mean, they saw the signs, they were amazed, and they were convinced. But was it real belief? And here's the kicker, the final twist of the chapter. It says that even though all these people believed in him, Jesus didn't entrust himself to them. Why not? Because he could see right through their surface-level excitement. He knew their hearts, and he knew their faith was pretty shallow. It was built on the thrill of the miracles, not on who he truly was. And this brings us right to the heart of what this chapter is all about. What does genuine faith look like? Well, it looks like the simple obedience of those servants at the wedding, the ones who just did what he said without needing a full PowerPoint presentation. It looks like the purity of heart that Jesus was fighting for in the temple. And it's an authenticity that goes way deeper than just our outward actions, because he sees what's really going on inside. So the chapter leaves us with this really challenging question to chew on. If Jesus wasn't all that impressed by a faith that was just based on watching spectacular signs, then what does it actually mean to truly believe? What's the real difference between just seeing the miracles and truly trusting the one performing them?